welcome back to the channel. I'm Eden Mabon of Light Cycle Astrology, and today we are doing Mantic Monday, episode number 44, where we're going to take a look at the Mars-Uranus conjunction and do horoscopes for all 12 rising signs, which will place this conjunction in a particular house in your birth chart based on your rising sign. If you missed last week's video, episode 43, I talked a little bit about Mars-Uranus just archetypally and what it could represent. Of course, not explaining everything that it could represent, but just tried to briefly touch upon it and give you a sense of maybe what it might be suggestive of. But today we're going to place that into your natal birth chart based on your rising sign. And while we can't predict something concrete for everybody, since there are millions of people with each rising sign, I'll try to give a little bit of a sense, maybe spiritually or archetypally, as to what it might be pertaining to based on some of those house topics that we get. So we're going to get into that here in a moment. Before we get into it, though, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit notifications so you don't miss any videos. Leave me some comments in the comment section. Thanks for all the comments I get. I had one from somebody that was a really sweet comment, and it gave me a little bit of that Mars-Uranus courage. So thanks for the comments. You can always find me at lightcycleastrology.com if you want to reach out to get a reading from me as well. All right, well, let's waste no time, and we'll pull up the chart wheel, and we'll place Aries on the ascendant here. And as we go through these rising signs, now I know a lot of people really want to have the timestamps just so you can jump to your rising sign, and I'll put those in here. But one thing for me as a student of astrology that has really helped is been that I see different things happening in other people's rising signs, because it gives me a broader sense of how something might be translated down through the house topics and things like that. It just can help to learn. So if you do end up watching the whole video, even though it may not be your rising sign, it's also fun to watch other people's rising signs that you know of, friends, family, loved ones, partners, things like that. Can also be a real helpful learning experience as well. But I find it really useful and a good practice. So you can watch the whole video even if it's not your rising sign. It'll give you a sense of Mars-Uranus conjoining in the sign of Taurus in a deeper way, if you're just curious about what is Mars-Uranus together archetypally. Seeing it through all of the houses, or some of the houses, however many you want to watch, will give you a sense, a deeper sense of what that is entailing. But of course, timestamps, you can always jump ahead to your rising sign, and that will give you a more focused look on a personal expression of that, perhaps. So if you are in Aries rising, this is placing this Mars-Uranus conjunction into the second house of finances. And with all of these horoscopes, I try to give like a balanced look, where you might see something positive out of the transit, and then you might see something negative out of the transit, because oftentimes you can get both. But for a positive, for Mars-Uranus conjoining in the second house of finances, you get something perhaps like the means or the impulse to sort of strike out on your own and perhaps create a individuated revenue source. Like if you are working for a company or working for somebody else, this might be a moment where you begin to hatch ideas about how could I make my own money that is separate from the work I do for other people, or something like that. But there's this real spirit of individuated liberty around your own personal finances, somehow becoming independent or investing in something that is solely for you, or work you do on your own, or something like that. Could be what this Mars-Uranus conjunction in the second is suggesting in a positive way. Now, the more negative side of this, obviously, is going to be some kind of disruption potentially like a shocking disruption that you didn't see coming to finances, whether that's something being cut off financially that you have counted on in the past, or having to find a different source of money or income or work or something like that. Or like a bill that just comes up out of nowhere, and there's like the lightning of the wallet, which of course nobody wants, but there just general disruption around finances, maybe having to tighten a budget if it means that you get to be less tied in with other people, or cut down in debt, or something like that. But there's this sense of like liberation and independence, but it might come through in the negative side, where it means a kind of lightening of the wallet, or lightening of income or something like that. But we could also see kind of an excitement. Maybe there is an opportunity to invest in something that is risky, but also exciting, or something like that. New technology comes to mind. So you get a few different choices for Mars Uranus in a second. All right, let's go ahead and we'll place Taurus on the ascendant. If you're a Taurus rising, this is placing the Mars Uranus conjunction into the first house, a place that was within all of the chart, and the houses in the chart was fundamentally about the self. So we're talking about your physical self, we're talking about your psychology, your soul, like on a deeper level, and identity too. So Mars Uranus in the first, it's, on the positive side, you could say what is being liberated, what is willing to fight for independence, or something like that, that will grant liberation as you want to be, or who you want to be, right? So it's something like the willingness to stand up for yourself, or the willingness to leave some kind of circumstance or relationship or something like that, in order to be who you really want to be. And it may have a really positive effect on your spiritual growth and your personal well-being. Now, of course, that can also be very disruptive. Mars Uranus in the first can also be, especially with Mars in detriment in the sign of Taurus, can be like a rebel without a cause, or bringing disruption to your life without, that's like unnecessary, right? It can be just quite rebellious or revoltive or defiant. It's just kind of maybe a week where you're just feeling like you're ready just to throw down with anybody that gets in your way, and it has this kind of electrifying feeling to it, and you don't maybe know where it's coming from, but there it is, and you're just sort of dealing with it for a little while. But as Mars and Uranus, of course, separate out, this feeling will go away. But there could be just this sense of really feeling like electrified in who you are and who you want to be. And hopefully nobody gets in the way of that, because they're likely to be met with a surprising reaction, potentially from what's being said, or something like that. So that is a little bit about maybe what you get. I should say, because Mars and Uranus in the first can also speak to things of health, in particular accidents, injuries, cuts, wounds, surgeries, things like that. You, of course, want to just be a little bit more cautious. If you're doing anything, like what I do for myself is, if I'm doing something and I know something is happening that can represent physical injury, I just sort of say to myself, hey, Eden, this could be Mars Uranus, me on the ladder, holding my box cutter in my teeth while I'm stretching out to try to screw something in and cut a piece of plastic off or something. I think, should I be doing that while Mars and Uranus are conjoining in my first house? Maybe not, So sometimes just being aware that things are risky and dangerous to you personally is also helpful. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to place Gemini on the ascendant, and Gemini on the ascendant makes the Mars-Uranus conjunction form in the 12th house, or the 12th place. This is really an interesting dimension. On the one hand, you get the sense that right now, are there breakthroughs or liberations coming around cutting away of habits that maybe are undermining. Mars Uranus could indicate that you're able to sort of break a psychological pattern of undermining yourself in a certain way, or feeling liberated, or doing something for your health or your body, or going to see the doctor, even something like just going to the dentist and having that problem in your mouth taken care of. Or there can be a sense of liberation that is coming through a place that has been in the shadows or undermining, or perhaps even this could speak to maybe cutting out a relationship that isn't so positive for you, or something like that. On the positive side, you could see maybe some of those things, but on the negative side, for sure, Mars Uranus in the 12th speaks to maybe like behavior that is undermining and being irreverent or hostile or needlessly rebellious, or just, yeah, like sometimes people being dramatic for no reason, just because it's sort of exciting, or things like that. Also, you get health challenges with this one, maybe something coming up that you weren't aware of, or just general disruption around health or something like that, that brings you into a place of healing or something like that. So you get a little bit of these pros and cons with this one, for sure. That is, both the pros and the cons are sort of in the shadows and dealing with that shadowy stuff. But are we talking about liberation from shadowy psychology, or are we talking about other stuff, like just dealing with health issues that have become disruptive or something like that? Or are we talking about psychologically shooting ourselves in the foot because we're just feeling wily and sort of having a more of a revolutionary feeling of needing to break out somehow, that is somehow really disruptive. So those are a few of the ways in which you might see Mars Uranus coming together in the 12th, showing up if you are a Gemini rising. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to put Cancer on the ascendant. This is going to place Mars and Uranus coming together in the sign of Taurus in the 11th whole sign house. And I think positive versions of this might be something as simple as getting together with friends and having fun times. Maybe it's like something physical too, exciting, like hanging out and having competitions, playing sports with friends, or going on outings, rock climbing, anything that's kind of exciting, maybe a little bit active, maybe meeting with people, or having fun times with friends that is just sort of pumping adrenaline, almost, you might think of, into life in an exciting way. Even things just like, I don't know, going to have a girls' night out and just really going wild or something like that. Now, on the negative side, you do get perhaps Mars Uranus speaking to the need for freedom in particular networks or friends or associations, needing to sort of maybe liberate yourself or cut certain people out that are not who you want to be spending time with right now, or something like that. And so there's that sense of perhaps discord, disruption, or fighting with people and friendships, or groups of people, or within groups of people, or something like that. Sometimes you can see almost like political things with Mars Uranus in the 11th, things like all of a sudden becoming really active in something political that is stirring to you, and you feel like the need to really join a cause or something like that as well. Okay, let's go ahead now, and we'll put Leo on the ascendant here. So if you're a Leo rising, this is placing the Mars Uranus into the 10th whole sign house of Taurus here. And positives of Mars coming together with Uranus in the 10th, definitely going to be, I get the sense that like uh, a theme around liberation or freedom or independence as it may pertain to your workplace, or like, um, like if you get like a promotion and you're somehow less of somebody that is taking orders and maybe more somebody that is giving orders or being a leader or something like that. And there's a sense of almost like freedom. But of course, this could be a change in work, a change in job, um, being independent, an entrepreneur that goes out and is working and maybe having a breakthrough with that. As it pertains to work or career or something like that. This could also be Mars Uranus in the 10th can also speak to practices that you do every day, especially if they're like physical kinds of things, people that practice a technical skill or something like that. Like for instance, if you practice yoga every day, this might be a time where you're all of a sudden really, really able to sort of have a breakthrough in what you can physically do as a practice that you do every day. Now, on the negative side, you get things like disruption at work, maybe being laid off or let go. I don't want to scare anybody, but you can definitely see some pretty disruptive or dramatic changes as it happens around in the workplace. So that could be what it's speaking to. Okay, let's go ahead now and move the chart forward and put Virgo on the ascendant. If you are a Virgo rising, this is placing the Mars Uranus into the 9th house. I know 3 Virgo rising people, so when I was thinking about Mars Uranus coming together in the 9th house, it was really interesting because someone I know is about to have a baby any day. And you don't think of the 9th house as like giving birth or something like that. But what I would say is that Mars Uranus in the 9th house was about that dimension of life that connects us with God, gets us closer to divinity in some way, somehow or another. Even if you're not spiritual or religious, there's a philosophical connection that we all have with some higher truth or meaning or purpose, or our convictions, our morals or ethics or values, the things that we derive as higher meaning. So Mars Uranus in the 9th speaks to an experience that comes along that somehow is liberating your connection to or with God. In other words, as for example, let's say that like somebody that was involved in a car accident and they survive and they're okay, but that brush with mortality leads them into this sort of epiphany about the deeper meaning of life and how time is so precious, and once we're gone, that's it. So oftentimes people that have these big life-changing moments like that, they can change life radically, right? They can say, oh, I was living life this way and none of that was important. I need to make these changes. So I wonder with Mars Uranus in the 9th house, if be it they small changes or big giant changes, I wonder if right now that isn't speaking to some kind of change around some higher meaning, life having almost like almost like a psychedelic moment that comes along and presents a higher truth or a higher meaning that somehow gives independence or liberation. And of course, concretely, people involved with things like legal matters, or politics, or learning, or religious things. The 9th house could speak more concretely to maybe separations or disruption in a legal case, disruptions or separations from a religious doctrine or something like that. But I think even in the concrete examples of stuff like that, it's going to serve your connection with God. And somehow, how is that? It's going to provide some kind of liberation or definition around higher meaning. So I think it all boils down to that, regardless of the actual physical manifestation of the event, if there is an event. it'll serve a higher awakening, or like a rude disruption that comes along and wakens you up to some higher meaning of some kind. So that is what I see for Virgo rising. Let's go ahead now and we'll put Libra on the ascendant. If you're a Libra rising, this is placing Mars Uranus into the 8th house, a place of shared resources, a place of death, a place of sometimes illness or failures. Not a very positive house. Now, I get the sense that for a lot of people, this may speak to, if you're in a partnership, perhaps something disruptive around a partner's finances or something like that. But on the positive side, this might be a breakthrough around getting unentangled with other people, either karmically, somehow getting away or loosening the bonds that connect you to debt or a contract with other people that maybe you've been looking to get out of. So this could be positive in so far as you're able to maybe figure out how to sort of become less dependent on other people. Now, the negative side of that is that could be really scary, because we all depend on a bunch of people around us, loved ones and institutions and things like that. So if there's a severance from things that we depend on, even if we don't like depending on them, that can really be disruptive. So somehow disruption around our contracts, be it social, monetary, relational contracts that we have with others, maybe having some form of liberation or disruption, is somehow perhaps coming in right now, and is what Mars and Uranus may be speaking to in the 8th house if you are a Libra rising. Okay, let's go ahead now and place Scorpio in the 1st house. If you're a Scorpio rising, Mars Uranus in the 7th house is, for me, really going to speak to things that may be happening with a partner if you are in partnership. For instance, there's something quite big happening with my partner, Kate. I'm not going to say on the channel what it is, but it is definitely something that, it's not terrible, but it is definitely a disruption in the normalcy that we have been going through. So you think about maybe something disruptive in a partner's life. Now, outside of partnership, Mars Uranus in the 7th can speak to anything like exciting sexual encounters with somebody that you go on a date with, maybe having some excitement and adventure in friendships, or like with best friends or something like that. And can also speak to things becoming completed, like having a breakthrough and going, oh, this finally got, the legal contract finally got signed. It's done. It's set. I don't have to think about it anymore. Or the deal has been made, and something is finished or completed, or all of a sudden has a breakthrough. It's like it's done, or it's over. Now, of course, Mars Uranus in the 7th can definitely speak to breakups, but this might be one of those kind of breakups where you move away from a partner and it feels good. It's sort of liberating somehow, even if it's disruptive. It's like, I'm free, that kind of a thing. Now, the 7th house has a lot of different dimension to it. So we'll just throw in a few caveats here. So a few things, but think disruption as it pertains to legal matters, partnerships, maybe even deals that are being completed or signed, or a completion or finalization, or some kind of liberation as it leads to independence with all of those things. Okay, now let's go ahead and move the wheel forward, and we'll put Sagittarius on the ascendant. If you are a Sagittarius rising, the Mars-Uranus conjunction is happening in your 6th house, a place that was where Mars was said to have his joy in ancient astrology, a place that Mars sort of found joy in causing everything from injuries to hard work, slavery. So on the surface, that sounds really negative, but Mars Uranus in the 6th, I get the sense that there is almost like an a genius level way of working with things that it's just like things are really moving fast. You're getting things done. There's a breakthrough in all of the hard work that's coming, and it's like you're putting Einstein in the in the factory, and he's just, all his bright ideas are just churning out productivity or something like that. But there's like this almost like breakthrough in productivity, genius way of maybe handling conflict or issues at work or something like that. But it feels like everything's just firing on all cylinders. Now, the negative side of that could be that there may be a sense of wanting to be free from the servitude that we are always forced to attend to, right? That, like, on the shadowy side of this, you could say that Mars Uranus may be looking to be like, you know what, I need to go on vacation. I can't do this anymore. I got to get away from I got to take the nose off of the grindstone for a while. So I feel like it's either like Mach 10 nose on the grindstone and things are really, really cooking, or it's almost a rebellion against that and wanting some time away from that. I feel like it could be somewhere between those two extremes, but it has that sort of sense to it, I think. Okay. Now, if you are Capricorn, if you are Capricorn rising, this is showing Mars Uranus coming together in Taurus in your 5th whole sign house, a place that was associated with creativity in children. Now, creativity in children and also recreation or procreation, but you get that this is a very creative house, whether it's dealing with your actual children, whether it's dealing with how you have fun after work, or with friends, or whether it deals with creative things that you do as an artist or something like that. That creative space, having Mars Uranus come together in that space, of course, is going to offer some kind of delineation, like a breakthrough in creativity, right? But Mars being such a physical planet makes me wonder, for those that are physically active, people that play sports, people that do something physical, there is an actual physical breakthrough, like the ability to, like I've been seeing the advertising end caps in grocery stores for the Olympics in France, which is coming up. And for me, Uranus has always really connected to that Olympian person that's competing for the gold or something like that. It has that breakthrough quality. With Mars there, it really has that sportsmanship breakthrough kind of quality. But if it's not about something physical, even like somebody that is likes to just sing in the shower or sing in their car and has been singing for a long time, this could be a moment where all of a sudden you have a breakthrough in somehow figuring out how to use your vocal cords in a different way. And in that sense, it could be more physical. But breakthroughs around creativity or something along those lines. Of course, with children, it could be that there's something happening in the lives of your children that is somehow reaching a mile marker or reaching some kind of attainment that feels like a breakthrough. And then on the negative, you could see kind of disruption around things with children, separations with children, or conflict or issues around children that need to be worked out or resolved. And you get things like that. Now, Mars Uranus in the 5th, as it pertains to creativity outside of children in that disruptive way, I don't know. It's almost like, is something disruptive about the way you have enjoyment. Like, well, at times the 5th house can speak to indulgence. Like if you're somebody that likes to hang out with friends too much and it becomes a pattern of indulgence, or likes to go to the bar too much, anything, binge watch. Like, I've been having a real struggle watching Ozark that series on Netflix that is quite old now, but I started watching it a couple weeks back, and it's almost becoming disruptive to my life because it just keeps sucking me in, and so I'm staying up past my bedtime, things like that, where there's no judgment, but I think we can all fall into those patterns sometimes where the things we enjoy can be disruptive, or become disruptive if they're indulged in too much. Something along those lines could be what Mars Uranus is speaking to if you're Capricorn rising on the negative side of things, if that is cropping up. So you just want to watch out a little bit for maybe things that are a little disruptive if they pertain to things that we enjoy. Enjoyment is very important, and we all need to experience that every day, because otherwise life isn't that fun, you know. So we either get excitement or potentially disruption from the excitement. It depends on how that sort of falls, I guess. But if you are Capricorn rising, I would look to a few of those particular house topics. Okay, now let's go ahead and place Aquarius on the ascendant. This is really interesting. You get Mars Uranus coming together in the fourth whole sign house, a place that was connected to home, family, ancestry, even like the occult mysteries of the past or something like that, like mystery schools or something. Mars Uranus in the fourth can speak to, I think, especially since we're talking about Aquarius risings, Aquarius rising people can tend to be the maverick that goes against the consensus anyway. So with Mars Uranus in the fourth coming together, I wonder about, this is going to sound bad, but I wonder about winning arguments or winning a position within the family unit or within a relationship or something like that. And I say win because generally you don't want to think of like, well, I was in an argument with my spouse and I won the argument or something like that. But at times we need a win within the family unit or within partnership or relationship or within the home life. We need a win to feel like, this is what I'm willing to concede to, and this is what I'm not willing to concede to. And I'm not going to feel good about myself if I'm not free in this way while in my home, in this marriage, in this family, et cetera, right? There are certain places that we need to establish that I just need this freedom. You get like for instance, some people are in marriages, and well, a lot of people, I'm sure, can relate to being in partnerships or family dynamics where they just feel like they're stifled, and there comes a time where you just need to break through and establish to yourself and to other people, this is where I stand, and I want to be who I am, especially with my family, especially at home. So in that sense, a breakthrough, winning a position within a family dynamic would be important, because it allows you and the other people to understand what you're willing to do or be or concede to or not do, or whatever the case may be. So could be big, could be small, could be like, hey, I really don't want to do the laundry anymore. I'm tired of doing the laundry. Like, somebody else needs to do it. I can relate to that. I'm the only person that takes the garbage most of the time. Actually, Kate helped me out this week, and she took a couple of cans to the dump, but we don't have garbage service. So there are times where I want to do this Mars Uranus in the fourth and could be like, that's it. Somebody else is taking it for a while. Like, I got a lot on my plate. Like, I don't have to be the only guy, right? But I do it because I feel like I should. But in any case, there can be times where you need to have those sort of victories in the home space to feel good. This could be something like that. Now, on the negative side, of course, you could see anything from disruption, moves, upheaval in the family, like shocking events that are happening with father or extended family, or anything that sort of brings in a disruptive kind of dimension to it all of a sudden that has to do with your personal, private home or family or loved ones. So I would look for some of those themes, perhaps, if you are an Aquarius rising. Okay, hopefully that wasn't too long. Now let's move on to Pisces. We'll place Pisces on the ascendant. If you are a Pisces rising, you've got Saturn and Neptune going retrograde in the first house right now. But we're here to talk about Mars and Uranus in the third house, which is always an interesting house to talk about. Mars and Uranus in the third, I think basically is going to speak to some need to just get out of routine, or potentially to invest in a new car or technology, or there's this sense of like, what can I bring into my life that wasn't there before, or that breaks the monotony, or puts in interjects some excitement, or something like that. But it's sort of the need for the things that are always just doing the same thing to sort of be broken up somehow. And that might be like, hey, I just need a new car. Like I can't drive this car anymore. I just need to go and get a new car or computer or whatever it is. But of course, Mars, Uranus coming together with a planet like technology, that Uranus is often associated with things like that. You do get the sense that I wonder if there isn't the breakdown of something in the everyday environment that needs to be fixed somehow. And it may have something to do with technology or bringing something new in that also has that component of excitement or something like that. Now, the negative side of this, of course, could be that the need for excitement or something new, the need for the monotony to be disrupted is interjected in a disruptive way to those around us. So that's sort of the thing that we have to be careful of. So that is what I have for all 12 rising signs. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope you guys got some hints as to what this may be speaking to. Meditate on it, roll it around, sort of think about those house topics. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section, and I'll do my best to answer questions. But hope you guys have a great week. I would love to hear your guys' experiences with this. Just put in the comment section, I'm so-and-so rising sign, and this was the experience. Even, for me, sometimes it doesn't make sense. I'll be thinking about something happening in a particular house, and I don't see the connection. It's like, well, what the heck does this house have to do with this experience? But meditate on it, and in time, a lot of times it becomes quite profound in a subtle way that can be very surprising. Mars Uranus is definitely nothing if not very surprising. So yeah, if you guys have any experiences, and if they make sense, and you're excited about them, I'd love to hear what happened. And if something happened and it makes no sense, and you want me to see if I can maybe put a line in the comment in response or something like that, definitely leave a comment and I will respond. Okay, well, thanks so much for watching. I will be back again next week with another Mantic Monday video. And until then, stay safe, and I'll see you then. Bye for now.